From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is the Energy FC Weekly Update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with the coach, Steve Cooke. Steve, you're coming fresh off a huge win to open the season against Tulsa, 1-0 in the big interstate match between those guys. Let's start with this. You guys outshot Tulsa pretty substantially, 21-11, and it was 11-2 in the second half. What did you think of your guys' offense in the season opener?
I think it was good. I think we had control of the game, both with the ball and without the ball, and I think we turned that into some positive chances for ourselves. But the only thing we didn't do is finish them off and really put the dagger in, because I think we could have easily in the first half had 2 or 3 goals, and that would have really opened the game wide open. But as I said to the guys after the game, it's possibly a good thing because it keeps you focused, it keeps you hungry, it keeps you humble, making certain that we get ready for the next game. Well,
I have to think there's probably a balance to be struck there, because you love all those opportunities your guys are getting, but you don't want to get in anybody's head about not putting more in the back of the net, I don't think.
No, it's really important that the guys, I think, stay focused and stay hungry to do well and compete and really strive for excellence. And in pre-season we scored a lot of goals, we created a lot of chances. This weekend was no different in terms of chances, and eventually those goals will come. But credit to the guys, they put in a very good performance, not only from an attacking standpoint, but when we didn't have the ball I thought they were exceptionally good, and in moments of transition that really win or lose games, I think they did terrifically well. So credit to the players.
This season opener, a lot of chippiness, as you might expect in a rivalry game like this. 40 combined fouls, so a ton of fouls. But yet you guys held Tulsa without a corner kick. I have to think that was pretty important for your defense to still be in a pretty physical and maybe chippy game, but not allow those guys those type of opportunities.
Yeah, these games are going to be like that, and obviously at Taft it's a pretty tight field, so players are in pretty close proximity to each other, so things are going to occur. It's part of the game, it's part of every game that I've ever been involved in, at least. This one was no different. And I think for the guys it was important to really be involved in that high intense, highly competitive environment, and certainly after pre-season, which is a bit more relaxed, I think it's important to get that one straight out the way, and that rivalry really created that intense atmosphere. So again, credit to the players, they did a good job and held Tulsa, I think, to just 1 or 2 moments where they looked threatening. But again, I felt when we didn't have the ball we were really in control, and in all honesty, I think that was the most pleasing part for me, is that when our team didn't have the ball, we still maintained our control of the game.
You talk about intensity in this game. Something else that added to the intensity was that crowd. It was a sellout. It was the largest crowd since 2015. What was the impact in your mind of that kind of crowd? It's
massive, and for any person involved in sport, and certainly for us involved in soccer, whether that be a player or a coach or somebody connected with the club, there is nothing like those big games in front of a big crowd, and people come out and they're loud and they're raucous and they're really energetic and get behind the group. And I think the fans were absolutely exceptional this weekend. I hope that we can do enough to keep bringing them back. I hope that we did enough to show that we can be entertaining and we can really create a good atmosphere ourselves on the field. But make no mistake, the fans really add to the playing experience, and we need the fans, we need them desperately, not only for that one game but throughout the season. And we're going to hope that they keep coming back, and hopefully as a group of players and coaches we can do enough to bring them back again many more times.
You guys have started as a franchise to have a bit of a home field advantage here. This is 5th straight at home. The team's recorded a point in 10 straight home matches, 8-0-2 during that time. But obviously this is just one this season. How much importance is there in your mind to getting started with the win, the 3 points? I mean, how important is that for your guys?
It's very big. You know, obviously in terms of the points, it's just the same as every other game, but to start the season off in a positive way and start the season off in a way that you would have liked to have seen, which is winning the game and getting 3 points, it certainly takes a few nerves away. But I think we've got to remain focused. There's 16 more home games, but more importantly, we have to get points away from home as well. And yeah, you want to create a fortress type atmosphere at your home ground. You want to win as many home games as you can. That's what's going to take you all the way into the playoffs. But the reality is that we've got to do the same things away from home. We've got to go away from home this week as well and make certain that we're focused on not only putting in a very good performance, but on hopefully winning the game as well. And when we go to Phoenix later this week, we hope to get the same result as we did at home.
We'll talk about Phoenix in just a second, but let's talk about your relationship with FC Dallas. You've got 3 guys on your roster right now. We saw some significant impact in that home opener. Talk a little bit about the mix. How do those guys fit in, and how are you coaching those guys similarly, differently? How does all of that work?
Yeah, it's a really interesting way of going about all of our business, and I was fortunate enough in 2013 and to work with Oscar Pereira when he was at Colorado Rapids, and I was a member of his staff, so we have a relationship going back a few years. Part of our alliance and our affiliation with FC Dallas is that we're able to use some of their players, and we're able to work in the same philosophy. We share the same vision for those players, which for us, for those players, it's really about making certain that we try to improve their careers, we try to improve them as players, but also they also have to blend with our group, and they have to fit into our group as well. And when we saw Jordan Cano, Francis Atueni, Ima Tumasi, they not only are very good young men and very good players, but they also fit what we need in terms of our style of play and the way that we want to go about our business. So they work with FC Dallas a little bit, they work with us as well through the week, and then obviously at the weekends, if they're available to play for us, we're delighted to have them, because they're not only good players, but they're great character people, and they fit right in with a group of players that are hungry to succeed and are hungry to work hard every day.
I don't want to give all the details of their story, but they have a pretty interesting background in their development to this point. When you talk about guys that are wanting to get better, that's sort of been ingrained in them for a while, right?
It has. You know, Jordan comes from a history of being at FC Dallas, so he's been in their youth program for many, many years, went to SMU and is now back playing with FC Dallas as a professional player. Ima and Francis both came to America from Ghana at a young age, and worked extremely hard. They came from the Right to Dream Academy, worked extremely hard to go to college, one to Michigan in Francis, and Ima Tumasi was a very good player at Wake Forest. And they not only were drafted by the same club in FC Dallas, but then they're sent on loan to the same club in OKC Energy FC. So they've got a really unique story. And I think, as you rightly say, they've been through adversity, all three of them. They've worked through that adversity, all three of them, and they've come out shining, and now I think very good young players with hopefully another 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years left in them to have a great career.
Yeah, and Francis with that only goal for you guys in that win against Tulsa, a big performance there by him. You mentioned Phoenix earlier. Next match is Saturday. You're in Phoenix. It's a 9:30 Oklahoma time start. A name, though, that might jump off the page for people that are watching or paying attention, Didier Drogba, part owner of the Phoenix team, will also be playing for them. A name that is sort of one of those that's out there in the soccer world as one of the great players over the last decade or so. What sort of challenge does he present to your guys being on the pitch with them?
Didier Drogba is a legend of the game. You know, he's achieved more than most people would ever dream of achieving in the game. And obviously now he's not only a player, but he's an owner of Phoenix Rising. And his priority is to try and build that organisation and take it to where it wants to go. Didier is a very good player, but one who we won't focus too much of our energy on. You know, obviously for us it's about focusing on playing against Phoenix Rising. I think they have a lot of exceptionally good players. They're a very well coached group. I think many people would regard Phoenix as being, if not the best team in USL, they're certainly close, and I think certainly in the Western Conference they would be regarded as a very, very high level team who should be expected to make the playoffs comfortably. Our job is to go there, be true to ourselves, make sure that we put in a hard-working performance, one that is committed and one that is organised, and also contribute to the game from an attacking standpoint. And I think we can do that. Obviously, we only played them 2 weeks ago in a pre-season game, so we know them fairly well. We'll be ready for everything that they can throw at us, and hopefully we have a few surprises for them as well.
I was going to ask you about that preseason match on March 9th. It was a 2-2 draw. Do you take much from that game, or do you figure everybody's sort of in preseason mode and you figure things are going to be changing?
I think you take a little bit from the game. Obviously, it is pre-season, so it is a bit different, but players' tendencies don't change because that's really who they are. And I think the ethos of that team won't necessarily change either. Their style of play, the way that they work won't necessarily change too much. But certainly with it being a game where 3 points are to play for, you expect more intensity, you expect more commitment from both sides. You expect that when Phoenix go goals up, they'll do a good job of trying to keep that lead, and if we go goals up, we'll do the same. So it's really important that we just stay focused on ourselves and work hard about what we're good at, and hopefully what we're good at is enough on the day to get ourselves a win.
Lastly, as you talk about how good Phoenix has been, this being an early season match, do you look at this as a chance to gauge where your guys are, or is it just another brick in the wall for this team?
I look at every game as a chance to gauge where we are and see if we can improve from a performance, or see what we may need to tweak in order to become better teams and better players. I think this game obviously has a little bit more of an edge to it, because obviously Phoenix are so highly regarded, and we're hopefully trying to become a team that will compete for a championship. And Phoenix, I think their expectation is that they win it. For us, again, I think it's important that we treat it as another game for us to improve and another game for us to perform to a high level. But make no mistake, if you can go on the same field and compete very well against the likes of Phoenix Rising, then you're in with a good chance of doing well throughout the season. So that's what we'll be looking for, a good performance, but one where we also look to challenge and come back with 3 points.
All right, that match on Saturday, again, 9:30 Oklahoma start time, and you can watch it live on the USL YouTube channel. You can go to energyfc.com for all those details and more information about tickets and upcoming games. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.